Welcome to Surviving to Thriving, the podcast for women ready to reclaim their energy, clarity, and life. I'm Dr. Rachel Yeager, and I know what it's like to feel exhausted, overwhelmed, and stuck. Here, we go beyond quick fixes to explore the science and soul of healing, covering stress resilience, brain reset, hormone balance, nervous system support, and connecting with your intuition. If you're ready to stop surviving and start thriving, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. What if your anxiety isn't psychological at all, or it's only partly psychological? This is the question we're going to explore today. What if your anxiety is actually a cellular survival response, which is your body's built-in danger alarm system, and it's trying to keep you alive, it's trying to protect you from threats. It manifests usually as anxiety and feeling like you're in this survival mode, fight or flight. Today, I want to explain anxiety through the lens of the cell danger response, and why this shift in understanding could change everything, could change how you feel, how you approach things, could finally be the missing piece if you feel like you've already tried multiple things. I'm Dr. Rachel. I'm a naturopathic doctor, now turned into a holistic health consultant. I work with women who've tried everything for anxiety and physical symptoms. Therapy, meds, supplements, diets, but still feel stuck. A lot of things help a little bit, but don't solve the whole picture. I like to look at the big picture, how all the puzzle pieces fit together. And with anxiety in particular, the reason for a lot of people that it's not going away is because the root is not in your head, made up, or in response to a circumstance or in response to a stressor. It's because it's in your brain mode and your cells. So by the end of this episode, my goal is for you to understand why your anxiety makes so much sense and why it's actually proof that your body is intelligent, not broken, and what you can do about it. So if you've ever thought, if my health would just get better, then my stress and anxiety would go away, you're definitely not alone. I hear this all the time. Everyone will describe this being in survival mode, being in fight or flight, having this anxiety. And since you didn't really notice it being something that really affected your life until after your health symptoms came up, then it's such a natural thought process that I myself have had, where if my health would just get better, then my anxiety would go away, because that's the main thing that I'm anxious about. So that's a really common sentiment. So when we're in this cycle where we have anxiety and we also have physical symptoms, those physical symptoms then create more anxiety and are showing up to our subconscious brain as threats. Our subconscious brain is perceiving these as threats, these symptoms that we're experiencing, these unwanted sensations. This ends up putting us even deeper into fight or flight and worsening our physical health. We end up trapped in this loop. And the kicker is, this is not your fault at all. It's how your body is wired for survival. It's your brain doing what your brain does to keep you alive. It's your cells responding the way they do in emergency mode to keep you alive so that you can survive different threats and you can react. And if there's a lion, you can go outrun that lion. So this cycle that happens where we usually had a little bit of stress, we were in survival mode, it was pretty mild, it was early stages. Really, our body felt the stress, but we wouldn't say so much that we mentally felt the stress. It's pretty invisible. This is the beginning period. And if we keep going and we keep having this chronic stress and it continues, that's where we end up with chronic survival mode. And this is where the cell danger response comes in. So I'm going to zoom out for a second and let's talk about what the cell danger response is. So this is some really great work by Dr. Robert Nouveau outlining how our cells respond. So this is our biochemistry. This is our physiology, how our body is physically working down to a cellular level. Our cells are responding and our biochemistry is changing in response to the signals that it's getting from our brain. And inflammation plays a big role of this. Stress plays a role in this. Our cortisol, which is our stress energy hormone, plays a role in this. So the cell danger response is how our cells react when they sense a threat. This could be infections. This could be toxins, could be trauma, could be stress that's just not letting up. Your cells literally flip a switch into survival mode, and your mitochondria, which make your energy, they shut down. Your cells stop sending hormone messaging. Your brain sends signals so that your gut stops digesting and absorbing things very well. So anxiety is not a character flaw. It's your cells signaling danger. When our cells go into this survival mode, we start to feel anxious and uneasy and on edge because our cells are literally responding and putting us in this state. So think of each cell like a house, shutting all the windows, shuttering everything up, locking all the doors when a storm comes through. That storm could be anything that causes inflammation or that signals stress, any threat to survival, because you being stressed about something to your brain is the same as a lion chasing you. It's all the same in your brain's perception of things. So your brain reads this lockdown and interprets it as anxiety, which you then feel mentally. So back to our full body look here. The brain is our CEO of our body. It coordinates our survival. It also coordinates whether we're in survival mode. There's like an emergency red alarm switch that's either flipped or not in our brain. Once you flip that switch, you're in survival mode. It's okay to flip that switch when you are dodging active danger, you're swerving around a car to avoid a wreck, whatever it is. We want that switch flipped because we want to be activated and we want to be in this fight or flight responding mode. What we don't want is for that switch to stay flipped. So after the car wreck, after the inflammation, whatever it is, after the flu virus that we had, we want that switch to unflip and us to go back to normal functioning. Because here's what happens in our body physiologically when we keep that red switch flipped. We get chemistry changes in our body. We have cortisol spikes. Our hormones dip. Our neurotransmitters shift. So we get less serotonin, dopamine, more glutamate, PEA, different neurotransmitters that cause panic attacks, less GABA, less of our sleeping, relaxing, grounded hormones. Our mitochondria reduce energy to conserve. So our little energy powerhouses start to shut down and they start to make less energy so that they can conserve their resources. We start to get physical symptoms: fatigue, brain fog, palpitations, gut issues, insomnia, anxiety. That sounds familiar? That's your physiology. Again, this is not a lack of willpower. This is not even an environmental circumstance. This is chemistry. This is biochemistry. This is a cellular response. There are basically 3 stages of survival mode. So stage 1, we have that invisible stress. This can feel to some people like you're being hypersensitive. The world feels overwhelming, like you're having to take in a lot of information. Sometimes we feel hyper aware of things. Sometimes we find ourselves overachieving when we're in this stage because we're overwhelmed and we're trying to respond to taking in all of this stimuli. So we're compensating by going into this higher functioning mode, trying to get more efficient. In stage 2, physical symptoms emerge. We get pain, we get fatigue, we get gut changes, we get hormone issues, our anxiety really ramps up. Stage 3, we're now in chronic survival mode. Our brain and our body are locked in the cell danger response. That red switch is flipped on a brain level. That CEO has all of our cells flipping their switches too. So our healing stops. Our cells are amazing. Our body is intelligent. Our body can heal itself, but not in survival mode. So our healing stops. Our inflammation continues. Our anxiety feels constant. We're not absorbing nutrients from our food. Our hormones aren't being made. Our immune system shuts down. A lot of very physical things that prevent healing and cause symptoms are happening in this stage. Most people don't recognize stage 1 and only seek help when they're in stage 2 or 3. This is just a function, I think, of modern society and a function of us maybe not even having awareness of this cell danger response and this survival mode in our brain. And we're just trying to keep up with our day-to-day. We have so much to keep track of as humans in this modern life. We don't necessarily feel like we have the time to just sit down and dive into something if it doesn't feel urgent. So why do traditional fixes for symptoms and for anxiety fail? Therapy, meds, diets, supplements, they can all help symptoms, But if these cells are still locked in danger mode, then the relief doesn't last. It's like a Band-Aid. So you might feel better for a week and then crash again. So the key message here is that healing requires unlocking the survival mode at the cellular level, not just chasing symptoms and playing whack-a-mole with symptoms. The good news is that your body, all of our bodies, are designed to heal. Your cells want to reopen, reconnect, and repair. They will want to break open of this shell that they've put themselves in. There's some really good examples of this that are actually grounded in scientific research. So, for example, visualizing healing prevents muscle loss after a surgery where you're just laying on a hospital bed and you're not moving. If you visualize moving and using those muscles, you are more likely to preserve your muscle mass because your body's like, oh, I'm using my legs, so I need to keep those muscles up. Versus if you just lay there without visualizing anything, we get atrophy, which is where the muscles shrink. If you think of puppies for even a minute, that increases your immune cells. This is insane because this connects our brain directly to our immune system. So we literally see how our state and what we're thinking about and what our brain is doing, the CEO of our body, it governs our immune system. That's it in action right there. Our nervous system resets can reduce inflammation markers. So if we reset our nervous system and we do all these things, like we look at our cortisol, we look at our neurotransmitters, we look at our nutrients, we walk through any mindset stuff that's blocking us and keeping us in a fight or flight state. If we work on all of that, there's research showing that all that stuff can lower your inflammation markers in your labs. So this just proves that your brain and your cells are really powerful healing allies. We often feel like our brain is working against us. We feel like we're just sifting through mental chaos. We feel like our brain feels crazy. We feel like our body isn't listening to us. We feel like our body's going rogue. But really, our brain and our cells are powerful healing allies. They've just been essentially hijacked by this survival mode where they can't do anything. Their hands are literally tied by being locked up in this mode. So here's a practical experiment that you can try. For 1 week, take 5 minutes a day to listen to a really beautiful song that you love, or to breathe really slowly, having a nice long exhale. Notice how your anxiety feels before and after, and try telling your cells during this 5 minutes, we are safe. We can shift out of survival mode. I am safe. Practice that. Notice if you feel different after. It's going to be really hard the first time you do it. And then as you keep doing it every day, it gets a little bit easier. That's your nervous system becoming flexible. That's your nervous system able to shift states. We don't want a nervous system stuck in any state. We want the rest and heal state, that's not survival mode, to be our default. But we want flexibility to move through all these states. Again, what if you need to swerve around a car? We want to be able to go into that fight or flight state. The key here is being flexible so we can shift back out of that fight or flight state after we no longer need to be in it. Small signals to your body of safety really add up, like those 5 minutes a day of doing something that signals safety to your body. You would not be sitting, listening to a beautiful song, breathing slowly and intentionally, and gauging yourself, tuning into your own body, if you were in the middle of running away from a lion. So this tells your body that you're safe, and adding those affirmations of safety can really help on top of that. So to sum up here, cell danger response. This is where our body goes into stress survival mode. The stress mode is happening on a brain level and a cellular level at the same time. Because of that, we want to shift and support both the brain and the cells at the same time. This causes inflammation. The cell danger response survival mode causes inflammation. Inflammation shows up in a million different ways: autoimmune diagnosis, fertility issues, trouble sleeping, fatigue, anxiety, depression, brain fog. The list goes on and on. A lot of people can feel when they have inflammation in their body. And so we could do stuff to boost energy. We could do stuff specifically to boost cognition. We could do stuff specifically to help with ovarian health. We could go through and we can still do all these things to help our body recover faster. But why wouldn't we just go to the CEO and say, hey, start managing things differently, please? We don't need to be in survival mode anymore. You can actually reopen all of our factories that'll balance our hormones, make us energy, help make us good brain chemicals so that we feel good. We can just go straight to the source instead of jumping around trying to take a million supplements for a million things. Health seems really complex nowadays, and a lot of that is because we're missing this brain body connection and we're just chasing all of these individual symptoms. We're chasing a medication for each symptom. Then we're taking a medication for the heartburn that first medication caused. And then we end up with issues down the line because we weren't supposed to be on an antacid for more than 6 weeks at a time anyway. So we just end up with this huge complex storm. And I think when we can, it's always best to look at the actual root causes and go straight to the root cause. We do live in a modern world where we have ongoing stressors. We have health issues, we have life events, we have family conflict. This often leads to that fight or flight, go, go, go state of action, that mode in our brain. And again, this is great if we truly need it to jump out of the way of a bus. But if we stay stuck in this for months, for years, it can truly escalate and spiral, snowball into a really long time. Then we're in this emergency survival mode chronically. Our immune system shuts down, our cells stop communicating, our bodies can't effectively rest and repair the way that they're intended to and the way that they can when they're not in this mode. We also make a lot of cortisol to try to compensate. And then eventually our poor cortisol producing adrenals tire and our cortisol drops. That's when we enter the exhaustion burnout phase. So all of this ties together. It's actually simple if we look at it from a bird's eye view. We back up and we look at your brain is talking to your cells and telling them what to do. Your brain controls how well your body absorbs nutrients. Your brain controls your hormone levels. Your brain controls your immune system. Your brain actually also contributes to how permeable your gut is, whether you have leaky gut. Your brain controls your sleep schedule. Your brain controls some of your habits. Your brain can determine what level of motivation and focus you have. And you're not going to have good motivation and focus if you're in survival mode because why would you be able to focus on a paper when you're running from a lion? So your brain is the CEO. The CEO has been hijacked by this survival mode. That causes a lot of anxiety in the body. And a lot of that anxiety is coming from biochemical, physiological causes. You have low progesterone. That causes anxiety. Are you iron deficient? That causes anxiety. Are you not absorbing vitamin D and processing it? That's going to cause anxiety. So we need to look at the big picture. We need to look at ourselves. And if you have anxiety and you also have coexisting physical symptoms, brain fog, chronic fatigue, gut issues, headaches, insomnia, heart palpitations, that's a good sign that you're having biochemistry-driven anxiety. So it's not just circumstantial, but it's actually coming from your biochemical imbalances in your body. If you're having a sudden onset of anxiety, it's not associated with any circumstances. It just comes on all of a sudden when you felt like life was relatively calm. If those waves of anxiety don't match what's happening around you, it's another sign. If you're having really strong body sensations like a racing heart or overwhelming dizziness, hot flashes, GI upset, and if all of that shows up even before your mind registers that you're worried, that's a really good sign that your anxiety is in fact biochemical. And if there's clear triggers from physiology, so if your anxiety gets way worse from caffeine, alcohol, sugar, if skipping meals or blood sugar dips makes you shaky and anxious, if it's associated with hormone changes, so if you're going through perimenopause, or if it's right before you have your period that you're noticing, or if you feel like you have PMDD or PMS, that will definitely have a tie to your anxiety. And if that shows up, then we know, again, that's a biochemical cause right there. And then time of day patterns. If you're having a morning cortisol surge or an afternoon crash or middle of the night waking with dread, that can point more toward the stress hormone imbalance. So these are all different signs that show up and different clues that your anxiety is happening on a physical, biochemical level. As always, this is not to say that therapy is not helpful. Therapy is absolutely still needed. Therapy helps us get out of the hole that our brain has gone into. It helps us leave survival mode. So therapy absolutely really helpful for this. And also, we want to look at the physical side of what's going on at the same time. We can break the loop. Your brain is so powerful. Your brain can change what it's doing, just like we thought of puppies and boosted our antibodies. Your brain can absolutely change what it does. And this loop that we get in where we have this body inflammation, so then we have this brain inflammation, so then we have more body inflammation, where our nervous system dysregulation causes inflammation through that cell danger response. But inflammation in our body also causes nervous system dysregulation because it inflames our nerves in our brain. So we have this loop, and we can basically restore the physical housing of the CEO of our body. We can restore our brain. We can restore our cells on a physical level so that the CEO starts sending proper instructions to the rest of our body. We can also help keep our inflammation low by doing healthy practices so that our brain can function properly and not be affected by having all this inflammation in the body. If you're interested in learning more about how to connect all of these together, this is the work that I do. This is how I work with women one-on-one, is walking through the neurotransmitters, walking through balancing foundational hormones, walking through the nutritional building blocks that we need for cells to have functioning membranes and being functional, helping rewire our brain to feel safe and supported. And I like to do this through a combination of tools. So supportive habits and lifestyle is really helpful. Other things that can be really helpful for this would be nutrition, especially anti-inflammatory and brain nourishing nutrition, vitamins and nutraceuticals that are chosen really safely based on any interactions, herbal supplements, again, based on your unique biochemistry. If you just take one cortisol supplement, it's going to be less helpful than if we looked at, are you low cortisol? Are you high cortisol? Functional labs can be super helpful. And then medications, when appropriate, can also be really helpful. So I like to advise and walk people through all of these different areas because you are a complex, multifaceted being. Your body has all these different systems that are simultaneously operating. Your body is complex, but we can make it simple by focusing on these things that the CEO needs to be a good CEO. And as long as you have a good CEO in charge, then we know that the company can run well instead of focusing on every single employee down the line, all the trillions of cells that you have. We want to go to the CEO and help there. All right. I hope this was helpful, and I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Thank you for tuning in to Surviving to Thriving. If you enjoyed today's episode, share it with a friend and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. This show is for education and inspiration, not medical advice. For tools and next steps to restore your health, energy, and peace of mind, visit my website or connect with me online. The links are in the show notes. Until next time, keep believing. Thriving is possible for you.